This screencast today is to show how to make reservations in R25 from the user's point of view. You can do that two ways, one through Speedbook and second through My Drafts. First, I'm going to show you how to make a reservation in Speedbook. So you will come up to this Create Event icon and then enter your event name. Pick the type of event. Then click the organization. Enter a title for the event. Make the event confirmed. Now sometimes I will make the event a draft at first if I know most of the event and I want to get it in, but I don't know everything, and then I'll save it as a draft. You will have to reassign the spaces and resources when you go back into it to make it confirm, but at least I know that the information's in there. Otherwise, if you're entering it and you know the information, go ahead and hit confirmed. One thing I want to mention is that you never want to click sealed, because then you cannot get into the event to do anything to it after that, so never click on that. So I'm going to hit confirmed, and I'm going to put myself as the requester, but you can pick from anybody in the list. And then down to the reservation name. Now you can put anything you want here that's more descriptive than the title, or you can just put the same thing as the type. So you could just put meeting, or if you're going to have more than one tab, I'll make a couple different tabs on this one. So I'm going to say morning meeting, and then we'll have an afternoon meeting. So let's say we want to go from 10 to 12, and let's make this next Tuesday. And if I had any resources that I'm going to add to the space, I'd have to have setup and takedown time. So I'll just add something. So I'll give them an hour of setup and an hour of takedown time. And then for my spaces, I just want any place in the Memorial Center. So I'm just going to put MC, and then for my count, let's put down 10. And then I hit check. And this brings up anything that starts with MC, so I can scroll down and you can see like the Dugout Conference Room is already booked. The Pillsbury Room is open, but it doesn't hold 10 people. So I can go down through these until I can find a space, and it looks like I picked a bad day. Oh, here. The Cartwright Room is open in the morning, so I'm going to go ahead and assign that space. And I do not want to hit allow sharing because that will let you double book the space. And I'm going to hit OK. So now I have the space assigned and I can add any resources that I want. So let me go to the Assign Resources tab, and let's say I want to add a table. Maybe we're going to have refreshments for breakfast or just some juice. So I'm going to add a table, and since it's the Memorial Center, I want to make sure it's a Memorial Center only resource since we have our own tables here. So I'm going to add just a 6-foot Memorial Center only table and assign it. I can add other resources here, anything that I want. And then I always go to this final last tab and check over everything to make sure I have everything. The setup time, the event time, the takedown time, the room, the date, what I want in the space, and the count. If that's all good, then I will go ahead and assign my categories on the Properties tab. So if you click on Properties and go over to Categories and select, you can select as many things that fit this as you want. So I'm going to say it's catered and it's a faculty staff event. And that's all I'm going to pick. But you can pick from any of those events as many as you want that fit. And hit OK. And then just X out of that. So I have this all done now, so I want to save it. So I'm going to hit the Save button. And I'm going to call this a faculty staff event and hit OK. And OK again. So now that event is done and it's in R25, and I want to email it to the person who asked for it. So I'm going to hit the little email event button and make sure it's the right person. You can also select other people if you want to add some more people to send it to, and then send them a confirmation. And I always attach the event detailed confirmation report. And I never include the event summary in the body. Some people do, and that's fine if you want to do that. I don't, just because I think it looks messy and I'd rather have the attachment attached to the event. And then I'm going to hit send. And you can write any message you want here too, and hit send. Okay, so now I decided that I wanted to add an afternoon meeting to this event as well. So I have the morning meeting tab, and I'm just going to click on New, and I'm going to say afternoon meeting. And I want to start this one, let's say at 1:30 p.m. Make sure it says p.m. not a.m. And then let's say we're going to go till 4:30. And I don't need any catering in the afternoon meeting, so I'm just going to leave the setup and takedown times open. Okay, and then I'm going to change the date till next Tuesday. And now I know that my morning meeting is Cartwright, so I'm going to check the Cartwright room to see if that's available. But it is not, so I'm going to double click on this date to see what's in the Cartwright room. And yes, it shows me that there are 2 meetings in the Cartwright room during that time, so I'm definitely not going to be able to use it unless I move something. So then I'm just going to put MC in and check all MC spaces, and it shows that the Dugout Conference Room is available, so I'm going to go ahead and assign that. Now this group may not want to switch spaces for morning and afternoon, and then we can look at other spaces and see what's available, but for now I'm just going to assign that so they have a space. And then they don't need any catering or anything, so I'm just not going to have any resources to assign, and then always come to that final screen and make sure you have the date, the time, the room, and your head count, and then hit save again. So that event is finished, and now we're going to do one from My Drafts. So if you click on My Drafts, it'll show you if you have any, and I have 7 right now. And I'm going to come to this test event that was entered from the web viewer. And I just basically do it like I did the other one. I just go from left to right, test event. I make sure that they have something in here for a type, that they have their organization in here, the meeting title, and then I'm going to switch draft to confirmed. And then the requester is already in there, and I'm going to put a meeting title. I'm going to check over their dates and the times, and this one is a repeating event, and it looks like it repeats every week on Wednesdays through December 10th. So that all looks good. I am going to check because there's a little note in here, and this little yellow sign says there's notes, so you want to definitely check that and see if there's anything that they need. And it says that they need an AV cart on the first date only, so when we do resources, we'll check that. Okay, so I'm going to go to the second tab, which is assign the space, and it should already be in there if they selected a space. You can just hit check. Now if it comes up and it doesn't show a space, but this little button's checked, you can click on set and it'll tell you what they've entered. That's if they don't know what the title of the room is. Sometimes they'll just type out what the space is and it'll show up there. So this shows that of the 11 dates I've checked, there's 8 available. So there are 3 dates that are not available. So I can either go ahead and assign the Titan room for those dates and then look for another date, or ask them if they'd like to move to a different space that might be open all of the dates. I'm going to go ahead and assign Titan to those dates, and then I will have to look for another space for the remaining dates. So it looks like Dugout Conference Room will hold people on the 26th and November 14th. So I can click both of those with the control button and assign it to those dates, and then I just have the October 10th date that I don't have anything. And I happen to know that it's homecoming week, so I know that it's probably, most of the spaces are probably booked to getting ready for homecoming events. So I'm going to just cancel that date and tell them maybe a classroom would be the better place for them to stay for that date. So what you do is you go to the last screen and click on event dates, and it'll come up, and you'll see the one that does not have a space to assign to it because there's no cube on it. So if you click on that, left click once and then right click, you can actually cancel the occurrence from that screen. Do you want to cancel? Yes. And then that date is now gone. Okay, so I took care of the space. Now I've got to check the resources tab since I haven't done that yet. And it looks like they need 2 easels for each date, so I'm going to go ahead and assign those because they're available. And then I remember that up in the notes they said they needed an AV cart on the first date only. So I'm going to type in AV, and I'm going to give them an AV cart just for that first date. So how I do that is I click on the resources and I click on the first date and I hit assign, and then that will only assign it to that date. Okay, and then again I always go to that last screen just to make sure it did pull it over, and it does show easels on every date and the AV cart and screen just on the one date. Now if you had instructions on the easels, like you want them to put the easels in a certain place or maybe outside the door, you can do that. If you just need it on one date, you click on that date, right click, and edit resource instructions. If you want it to apply to all of the dates, you can shift select the whole set of dates, right click, edit resource instructions, and say place outside room door, or whatever you need it to say, and then make sure you save it. And let's save this as a faculty staff event. Okay, that event has now been saved, and then you can email it, the confirmation report, to the person as usual. Okay, so that is the 2 ways that you can make events in Resource 25. See the next screencast for how to make changes to events that are already in Resource 25.